Welcome back. It's my extreme honor to interview a lovely young woman, Rachel Starr Thomson. She is the co-author of a book called Fearless, one of my favorite topics. And Rachel, it's great to have you on the set. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's great to be here.
There's a great quote in the beginning of the book from Winston Churchill. Fear is a reaction and courage is a decision.
Absolutely.
And you've basically, this topic has been so intense, you've actually written a book about being fearless.
Yeah.
How did that happen for you?
You know, it's a topic that is really timely right now. And for me personally, it's become a bigger thing in my life. I'm a naturally kind of timid, cautious person, and
so it
as long as I've known the Lord,
for you.
No,
Yeah.
And as long as I've known God, He's been like pushing me out,
Right.
Further than I want to go.
Yes.
But really, for me, the story that I share in the book is back in 2014, I had a sudden and still unexplained cardiac arrest. So I just literally, what's on my medical records is sudden cardiac death.
Wow.
And so I just actually was technically dead for 12 minutes.
Wow.
Which again, it came out of nowhere. And
Where were you?
I was in a Canadian Tire parking lot.
Wow. And so it hit you, and what happened to your body?
I just collapsed in the parking lot. My sister was with me, so she called an ambulance. And actually, God is incredible. So as I was collapsing, a cardiac nurse was pulling into the parking lot.
Wow.
Which she worked on the floor where I ended up being for a couple weeks. And she came in and she said I wasn't going to Canadian Tire. I was just driving by, and I don't know why I pulled in.
So you're under cardiac arrest, and God sends a cardiac nurse right to where you are.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she started CPR immediately, which is the only reason I don't have brain damage, because 12 minutes is a long time to be gone. Right. But she kept oxygen coming the whole time until the ambulance could get there. So. And then they defibrillated, and I came back and woke up in the hospital about 24 hours later.
How did that incident shape the book, Fearless?
You know, it really highlighted the importance of living your whole life for the Lord. Because the most profound thing about that experience for me was waking up and realizing I have no regret. I have no regret. And I don't live a conventional life. And a lot of people would look at me, I'm not married, I don't have kids, I don't have a normal career. It's kind of been just this walk with God on a faith path all these years. And on paper, my life doesn't look like it has a lot of value even. So to be able to wake up and say, wow, like every choice has been worth it.
Yeah, so you were happy with the way that you had spent your life, and you realized this wasn't my time to go, but when it is my time to go, you wanted that same feeling. I don't want to have regrets.
That's absolutely right.
And did you think you became more fearless after this happened?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so. So then the event that happened that really kind of brought it all to a head for me was just last summer. And I was out for a jog. And so after this event, I have an implanted pacemaker and defibrillator.
After what happened?
So, yes.
In 2014.
In 2014. Because the doctor said, we don't know what caused it. So
we don't want to take a chance.
We don't know if it will ever happen again. So we're just going to put in a defibrillator in case. Well, the problem was I was out jogging and it misread my heart rate and thought I had a bad heart rhythm. And so it went off. As I was out, so it knocked me right off my feet. I wasn't sure what had happened at first.
What happens when it goes off?
You get about 700 or 800 volts of electricity shooting through you, so it feels a little like having a heart attack.
Right. How many times?
9 times in a row. As I was trying to get back to the house.
Wow.
So I was crawling home. On the side of the road, and I didn't know if it would stop, and I didn't know if I was having a heart attack or a cardiac arrest. I didn't know what was happening. And the cardiac arrest itself was not traumatic. The defibrillator going off mistakenly was extremely traumatic. And so that's kind of been this daily walk of, you know, if I get the hiccups, it's terrifying. Because it's this unexpected jolt.
You're worried about if that'll set. Is there a defect of any kind that they've checked out to see if...
They've looked at it and they've set the heart rate higher.
Yes.
So it shouldn't do that again. But it shouldn't have done it in the first place, right? So that's only so much comfort.
And so all of that, I can empathize that what it does is make life very precious, and knowing that you have that. And so you are a pretty fearless person, as the book points out. What is behind being a courageous woman in 2017?
Honestly, it's this very...
2018.
Yes,
I'm sorry, we're in a new year. Okay.
It is. It's a good new year. It is the very, very ancient concepts of holiness, which really just having... I see holiness as a self-concept and as an identity of being set apart for God, and that's what life is about.
So are you saying that holiness leads to being courageous?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. What is the correlation?
The correlation is, so holy, we get confused because we think it means a bunch of rules or how you're wearing your hair or your makeup or what you listen to and not.
Right.
And holiness really just means to be set apart for God. And when you're set apart for God, all of the circumstantial stuff in life that makes us afraid is irrelevant.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Because all that matters is walking with God and fearing the Lord and listening to His voice.
It makes sense, doesn't it? Because if you're walking in holiness before God, you're not dealing with shame from sin in your life.
Absolutely.
You're not dealing with sidetrack roads that you have to sort of, come back from. You're on a path that God has ordained, and you can be reckless in that regard for the Lord.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't mean, of course, that you don't make mistakes or that you don't get into sin and that you don't have to deal with those things. But it just gives you this very central goal, and so you just know, when you do take a wrong path, when you do get into sin, it's like, oh, that's not who I am, and that's not what my life is about. So I just need to deal with that and get it out of the way and go back to.
So if there's someone out there and they're a little bit like you, they feel a little bit timid, they don't know how to be courageous. You said that it is so important to be fearless at this time in history.
Absolutely.
How do they become that?
Oh, that's such a good question. It really is about faith, choosing faith over fear, which just means to believe God. And to me, the most central things in that are believing that when He says He loves you, He really does. When He says you're forgiven, you really are. When He says that He wants to walk with you, He really does. So all you need to do is wake up and believe that to the best of your ability and believe He's going to keep pulling you up and helping you.
And I suppose it really means being obedient. If He says to speak, something so simple, you are to speak.
Yeah.
Like, it's down to that foundation level, isn't it? And it's not hard, because we can speak, but we need to speak. And even speaking is an act of fearlessness in this day and age.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. This is your book, Fearless, and I certainly hope that you'll have a chance to get a copy of this and change your life. Thank you for sharing your story. It's beautiful. All right, thanks for joining us. I love spending this time with you. We'll see you next time.